Hello everyone. Let us get started with C++ certification training. Let us start a discussion on Introduction to Standard Template Library. So the topics that we are going to cover in this discussion is what is a standard template library. Then we'll talk about various components of STL. Then we look at containers, and then we will look at what are the types of containers, and finally what are the applications of containers. So let's start with understanding what is a standard template library, or STL as you might call it. So what is an STL? STL is a set of general purpose classes and functions which are mainly used for storing and processing data. So basically in any programming language, there is a lot of data involved. You have to store the data, process the data. That is where STL comes into picture. So STL can be defined as library of container classes, algorithms, and iterators. So basically, STL is a combination of containers which holds the data. Algorithms are basically the programming logic or the algorithm logic that work on their data. And iterators are basically used to access those data which are stored in the container. Then the idea to reuse already written and tested component which are defined in STLs. So basically there are already inbuilt STLs available. Of course, you can create your own, but the ones that are already rewritten for you or built and written for you, that can be reused. Why do we do that? It helps to save time and effort and enhance the quality of program. Since you are reusing the code, it will save you a lot of time and effort. And of course, the quality is improving because the STLs that are already written has been tried and tested by different developers and programmers over a period of time. So if you think or want to see it as diagrammatically, you can see that you have a standard template library represented by this image here, which contains classes and functions. Now, what are the various components of STL? So let us look at three major or key components of STL. One is container, another is algorithm, and another is iterator. So first of all, what is a container? Container are the objects that store data of similar type. So container is basically a location, you might call it, or a memory address, you might call it, where you store your data, right? So it constitutes a container. For example, you can have a list, you can have a vector that becomes a container in case of STL, for example. Then we have algorithm. What is an algorithm? Algorithm are procedures that are used to operate upon containers and manipulate them. So basically, as I had told earlier, that we have some algorithms written. Those algorithms can work on the data that is stored in the container. That is where algorithms come into picture. Then we have iterator. What is an iterator? Iterator behaves like pointers and are used to access the container element. So basically, if container is the place to store the data and algorithm is the logic that is applied on that data, then iterator is a reference or a pointer to that particular data with which you access those elements and basically perform operations on those elements. So let us continue with our components of STL discussion. Now the relationship between the three core components of STL can be represented diagrammatically, as you can see in front of here. So container stores all the data. This is your container. Then algorithms perform operation on the container with the help of iterator. As I've already mentioned, that you access the elements with the help of iterators. And finally, iterators are responsible for connecting algorithms and containers and enabling manipulation of data stored in the container. So basically it is with the help of the iterator, you access the data that is stored in the container and perform or apply the algorithmic logic on those values stored in the container. So this is how the three core components of STLs are related with each other. So let us now continue our discussion on container in a little bit more details. So now what are containers? Now containers are objects that store related objects. So basically when I say related meaning, suppose you have a collection of students. Now students are related in sense that it is a similar set of data which is students, or rather you can have a collection of maybe integers which are stored in a container, right, or different data types. So basically the emphasis here is we store related objects which has a relationship or some kind of a relation with each other. So containers are objects that store some other related objects. Now they organize data in the memory and are implemented using template classes. So they organize the data internally in the memory, and this implementation internally is facilitated with the help of template classes in CPP. Now, STL can be grouped in three major categories. We have sequence container, we have associative container, and we have derived container. So under sequence, we have vector, DQ, and list. Then under associative, we have set, multiset, map, multimap, and under derived container, we have stack, queue, and priority queue. So let us look at each one of them one by one. So what is a sequence container? Sequence containers are homogeneous elements in sequential order. So when you say homogeneous, it means similar kind of a data, and sequential order means it follows a specific order or a specific sequence. So under this category, we have vector, we have DQ, and we have list. So let us discuss about each one of them one by one. So what is a vector? Now vector can be defined as a dynamic array. Dynamic because it can resize itself. Then here the elements are stored continuously or contiguously and can be accessed randomly. So the data which is stored in the vector are stored in a contiguous memory location, and you have an ability to access the elements randomly, meaning that you don't have to follow a sequence that go to first element and then go to second and go to third. If you want to go to third element, you can directly access that third element. That is known as randomly accessing the elements within a vector. Then what is DQ? It is double-ended queue, and it is a container where insertion and deletion is possible at both the ends. So in a queue, you insert data from one end and also insert the data at another end as well. Now it allows random access of elements and is dynamic in size. Similar to the vector, you can randomly access the data from the DQ, and also it is dynamic in nature. Then we have a list. What is a list? List is a container that allows bidirectional access of elements and fast insertion and deletion anywhere in the container. So as the point specifies, or it makes it clear, then you can access in both the direction, front and back. I mean, you can move forward and move backward while accessing the elements of a list. Plus, when you do an insertion from a list or deletion from a list, it is very, very fast. And we shall see in some time why is the insertion and deletion very fast in the case of a list. So that is regarding the sequence container under which we have vector, DQ, and list. Now let us look at associative containers. So in associative containers, elements are stored in predefined order and not sequentially. Here elements are accessed directly using their keys. So earlier, as we talked, that the elements are stored in sequential order, wherein in the case of associative container, the order is predefined and it is not sequential in nature. So basically there are four types here. We have set. Set consists of unique elements. So basically if you think of a set as a set of numbers, it will store only unique numbers. There are no duplicates allowed in a set. So therefore it is called unique elements. The value of elements cannot be modified once it is added to a set. So once you have put in a value, you cannot just go about changing the value of that particular entry within a set. Then we have multiset. Multiset is a set, but it can store multiple elements having the same value. So going a step forward, in multiset is an enhanced set, you might call it, wherein you can have multiple elements having the same value. So basically duplicates are allowed in the case of multiset. Then we have a map. What is a map? Map consists of key value pair. The key is used to maintain the order and the value is associated with the key. So for example, for a given key, we have a value stored against it. So if you want to access the value, you access that value with the help of a key. So it's a key value relationship. Then we have a multi-map. Multi-map is similar to map, but in this case, multiple elements can have the same key, but the key value pair must be unique. So as you can see that uniqueness in multi-map is maintained or retained with the help of key value pair, although multiple elements can have the same key. So that's about the associative container, where we have set, we have multi-set, we have map, and we also have a multi-map. Now let us look at what is a derived container. Derived containers are also known as container adapters. So we have basically three types under this. We have stack, we have a queue, and we have a priority queue. So what is a stack? We all know that it is a container that follows last in first out, also known as LIFO approach. New elements are added and removed at the same end. So when you put an element in a stack, if you want to remove it, that is the one which will get removed from the stack. So it's a last in first out approach or principle used in the case of a stack. Then we have queue. What is a queue? It's a container that follows first in first out mechanism. Now here elements are added at one end and removed at the front of the container. So in the case of queue, you add element in the one end and from other end it will get removed. That is a queue, and it follows the approach of first in first out principle or mechanism. Then we also have a priority queue. So in priority queue, it is a queue where each element has a fixed priority and the first element always has the highest priority. So whenever you put an element, it is assigned a priority, and in case it is the first element going in the priority queue, it becomes the element with the highest priority. So these are the various containers that are under derived container category. Now let us look at applications of the containers about which we have already talked. We'll look at it with an example. Now there are various containers available in STL, but considering the scope of our discussion, we are only going to discuss or consider some of the most famous containers that are available in CPP. So let us get started with a vector. Now vector is one of the most widely used container. It supports dynamic array, hence memory is allocated at the runtime and the size can be changed accordingly. So this point I had discussed earlier as well, that vector is dynamically resizable and the elements are stored in contiguous memory location and can be accessed directly. So directly meaning that you can simply access it with the help of index, and it's very easy, and you can even randomly access the elements of a given vector. Now as you can see in this example here, in the main I have created a vector which is holding integer data type. inside angle bracket I have defined int, and I have given the name of the vector as v. Now this code will create a blank vector and no size is mentioned, right? In the other case, what I have done is I have created a vector in which I have specified integer type to be stored, and I have given four integer elements 1, 2, 3, 4. So in this particular case, a vector will be created having size 4, as you can see here, which a size 4 meaning it can hold 4 integers. So this is how we basically create vectors in CPP. So as the data is added to the vector, it grows in size dynamically. So I mean, as I have already mentioned that it is dynamic in nature. So if you add an element in a vector, the size will grow dynamically. Dynamically meaning runtime while the program is in execution. So this is how a vector works. We shall look at all of this with the help of example in some time in our further discussions. Then next we have list. List is used to implement doubly linked list, which allows insertion and deletion of elements from anywhere in the list, which is not possible in the case of vectors, although they do not allow contiguous memory allocation. So list is similar to doubly linked list. Now doubly linked list, they have pointers. So when you insert an element in a list, actual insertion and deletion does not happen, but there is a pointer which is readjusted, and therefore the insertion and deletion is very fast. I mean, insertion or deleting an element does not actually insert or delete an element from the list, but pointer are repointed to the new elements and adjusted accordingly, and this operation happens very fast, and therefore the insertion and deletion in the list is very fast. Now a syntax for creating a new list can look like this. I can say std : list int, this int is the data type, and L. So this is creating a list for me. Similarly, if you want to create a list with an elements in this, you can see here that similar to vector and arrays, list can also be initialized with parameters. So here I am creating a list holding 3 integers 1, 2, and 3. So let us now look at map. Now map is a sequence of key value pair where each value is accessed by unique key associated with it. The value associated with keys can be modified, but the keys are not allowed to be modified. So let's say uh, if I have a key value pair, a key could be an employee ID. Maybe if you are working in an organization, your employee ID could be a key, and a value could be another object which is storing information related to that particular employee. So it could be your name, it could be your designation, it could be your role, right? So in that map, you have an employee ID as your key and the related information stored as an object, which is a value, right? Now your employee ID is going to remain same always as long as you're in the company, but the value in those object which is stored against the key can change, meaning that with time your designation can change, your salary can change. So basically key remains same, but the values, corresponding value can get modified. So that is the primary feature of a map. So map can be created using following statement. You create a map map, then you specify the key or the key type and the value type, and you give the name of the map, for example. So a map is commonly called an associative array. This is a commonly used name in the case of a map. So against a key, you store a value in the map. So like this, you can have multiple keys, and you can store a single value against a given key. And this key value pair is unique in nature. So now let us summarize our discussion that we had so far. So at the end of this session, you should be able to understand what is an STL, Then you should also understand what are containers and what are the various kinds of containers that are available in CPP. So to summarize all our discussion, we have looked at what is an STL, standard template libraries. We looked at various components of STLs like containers, algorithms, and iterators. And we also looked at different kind of containers, whether it is a sequence container or an associative container or a derived container. So that's all we have in this discussion. Thank you so much for your time.